You open the fridge, the light turns on, every single time. But here's something. If that little switch fails, even once for just a few hours, your entire kitchen could be in real danger. And honestly, we've all asked the same dumb question as kids, right? Does the light actually turn off when the door closes? Or is it just sitting there, in the dark, waiting for you? You can't check. The second you open the door to look, it turns on. Well, yes, it really does turn off. But the reason it has to turn off, that's where this story stops being boring. Look, an old-style light bulb gets hot, really hot, and a fridge has exactly one job: stay cold. If that bulb stayed on while the door was shut, it wouldn't just warm up, it would act like a tiny heater, melting the plastic walls around it and slowly rotting your food. The cooling engine would fight that heat non-stop until it eventually wore itself out. So appliance companies realized something early on. They needed a switch that would never, ever fail. Not once. But humans are messy. We slam doors. We leave them cracked open. We spill sticky drinks everywhere. So how do you build a switch that survives human carelessness? For years. In the early days, the answer was simple. Almost too simple. A tiny plastic button sat in the door frame. Door closed, the frame pushed it in. Door open, a spring popped it back out and the light turned on. That's it. No sensor, no chip, just a button and a spring. Except this was actually an engineering nightmare. Think about how many times your family opens that fridge in a single day. Studies say the average household does it around 70 times. That's over 25,000 times a year. Over 10 years, that one tiny button gets smashed 250,000 times. Springs get tired, plastic cracks, and fridges are wet places. Moisture creeps in, freezes, jams right inside the switch. If that button ever got stuck, even once, your fridge would quietly turn into an oven. So engineers had to throw the whole idea out. They needed something with no moving parts at all. Something that couldn't freeze, couldn't crack, couldn't jam. Something that almost felt like magic. And that's exactly what they built. Okay, so if you look at a modern fridge today, you'll notice the door frame is smooth. No button anywhere. So how does it actually know the door is open? Magnets. Hidden inside the rubber seal of your door is a tiny magnet. And buried in the wall of the fridge, just behind it, sits a small sealed glass capsule with two thin metal arms, resting a hair apart. When you close the door, that magnet slides close enough for its field to reach through the plastic, pulling those two arms apart and cutting the power. The light goes off. Open the door, and the magnet moves away. The arms snap back together, power flows again. The light comes on, all without a single moving part ever touching anything. No rust, no cracking plastic, no ice jam. It can fire millions of times and never wear out. It's one of the quietest little masterpieces hiding in your kitchen. But wait, if it's just a magnet flipping a light on and off, why do some fridge lights fade in slowly instead of snapping on? Why do some beep if you leave the door open too long? Because the rabbit hole goes deeper than a light switch. In a lot of modern fridges, that magnet isn't wired to the bulb at all anymore. It's wired straight into a tiny onboard computer. The second you open the door, that magnet basically tells the computer a human is here, and the computer goes into a quiet kind of panic mode. First, it fades the LED light on gently, almost like a hotel room, because a soft glow simply feels more premium than a harsh click. Second, it instantly cuts power to the main cooling fan, because if that fan kept running with the door open, it would blast all your cold air straight out into your kitchen. Third, it starts a silent countdown. Leave that door open more than a couple of minutes, and it triggers an alarm to warn you your food is now at risk. That tiny click you've never once thought about isn't just turning on a bulb, it's a quiet conversation between you and a machine that is working very hard every single second to keep your food alive. And that beep you've probably ignored 100 times? Not random. That's the fridge basically begging you to close the door before your groceries pay the price. And here's what really gets me. We live in a world where so many companies build things to fail on purpose. Phones that slow down right after a new model drops. Printers that quietly die the moment the warranty ends. There's even a name for it, planned obsolescence. But this switch, complete opposite. Engineers spent real time, real money making sure this one tiny part would basically never fail for the entire life of your fridge, and they never once asked for credit. No app, no notification, no subscription. It just works, silently, in the dark, every single day of your life. Maybe that's the real lesson hiding behind your grocery card. The best engineering doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't beep for attention or ask you to update it. It just quietly does its job and lets you forget it even exists. And if you think this is wild, the grocery card is not just for shopping. It's lightering your pocket. It's tied to a design secret that traces all the way back to actual wartime engineering. I'm breaking that one down in this video, and trust me, it's even stranger than this.